As I was reading through Acts recently, I came across a verse that um, was actually put me to mind of a devotional that I had heard recently. And I'm going to read the verse to you, and then I just want to talk about a little bit about what it made me think of. This verse comes from the book of Acts. It's in chapter 27, and it's verse 25. And I'm reading it in the NLT. It says this: "So take courage, for I believe God. It will be just as he said." And as I read that, again, having read this passage many times before, the story that leads up to this moment, Paul and a bunch of other people are on a boat. I'm going to paraphrase and make it oversimplify what was happening, but they're on a boat and they're on this crazy journey where earlier on he had warned them, it's not going to go well for us if we continue on this journey. And they didn't listen to him, and they decided to continue on anyway. And they were met with horrible storms, storms that were so bad that they kind of had to abandon any attempts to fight the storms and just kind of go adrift, like just follow the storm wherever it was going to take them. And they even got to the point where they were throwing things overboard, like they were losing hope. But this comment that he makes, where he says, "Take courage, for I believe God, and it will be just as he said." He had just gotten done telling them, no one's going to die here. We've already lost some cargo. We've lost some other things. We're battered, we're bruised, we're hungry. But God has told me we will all make it to where we're going to run aground. No one's going to die, because they were terrified. And when he says, "I believe God," it reminded me of a conversation that I'd had with my daughter where we talked about the difference between believing in God and believing God. Because we can believe in God because we've been told to, or we've been taught to, that Jesus is God's son, that God is the creator of the world. I believe in that. But sometimes it's harder as we walk out our faith to say, I believe God. I believe in his word. I believe that what he says is true. I believe that the promises that he gives us are going to be fulfilled because the promises that he has said in the past have already been fulfilled. I believe God is a different level of faith than saying I believe in God. It's about stepping out in faith and walking our faith in a way that is experiential. And so when Paul told the people that he was on this ship being tossed around in the waves and in the wind, when he said, "Take courage, for I believe God, and it will be just as he said," it stood out from the page for me, because I think there's a lot of times as believers that we can rest on our belief in God and struggle with believing him. And so the way that we can get better at believing him is by spending time with him. We believe in the people that we're in close relationship with because we know we can trust them, because we've spent time with them. We've experienced their goodness. We've experienced that when they say something that it's true. And it's the same thing with God. We can believe God more and more when we sit in his presence, when we read from his word, and when we prayerfully sit before him and say, God, in the places where I struggle with belief, in the places where I struggle to trust you, help my unbelief, help my struggle, help me in my struggle. And God is faithful. And so we can trust him. We can believe in God, but we can also believe him. And we can believe that he will do the things that he has said that he will do. Be willing to spend the time you need to so that your belief of him, in him, and your ability to believe him becomes stronger and stronger. Have a great week.